wants to learn how to balance a household budget?
Who wants to watch a jeans commercial being shot?
Who wants to make their own hours?
Who wants to take those jeans home after the commercial's done?
Who wants to learn how to wash those jeans without shrinking them?
Who wants to drive my Jag for the weekend?
What are you...
The choice is obvious. I'll take Dad.
You're kidding.
Great, then I'll get Angela. What time should I be ready for work, boss?
7:30 and dress for success.
Okay. Now, how about me, Dad?
7:30 and dress for a mess.
I don't get it. Why didn't you pick Angela? Because I've worked in Angela's office before, and believe me, she could be real intense. She doesn't seem that bad.
Oh, Bonnie, on second thought, make it 7 sharp. We've got a full day ahead of us.
I hope you give static cling.
Hello. Welcome back to
Ayo. OA.
the Who's the Boss podcast. I'm Tori.
And I'm Kevin.
We are here to rewatch and discuss every single episode of Who's the Boss. All right, today we're going to cover season 5, episode 21.
Wow.
I know.
21.
We are moving. The title is called Working Girls. It first aired on Tuesday, April 11th, 1989. And the TV Guide summary says, when Sam works for Tony and Bonnie works for Angela in a work-study program, Angela turns out to be the fun boss. So Sam trades her sweats for a suit.
Mm.
Yeah, but I mean,
Whatever.
that's not really telling the story there.
No.
What does yours say?
I got Tony has organized a PTA project offering each kid a week job experience with one of the parents. Sam and Bonnie are left out, so they get stuck with Tony's domestic experience and Angela's advertising agency. Lazy Sam chooses what seems the least work, only to change her mind after hearing easygoing Bonnie enjoyed giving it a real go. The scenario is repeated after the mates switch jobs, but by now the mentors get on to them. Kind of.
It falls
then-
apart at the end there, but the rest of it seemed right.
And then there's like a 5-paragraph synopsis that somebody wrote on this one, which no one has done in weeks.
Yeah, this must be somebody's favorite episode.
And
Please do not read that.
I'm not, but just on top of it, it says the synopsis below may give away important plot parts. Points.
Spoilers.
Points.
Spoiler alert.
Pretty much spoiler alert.
Yeah, all right. So if you want to read that, go to the IMDb page for this, and there it will be.
Yeah, it's all there.
All right, this episode was written by Jake Weinberger and Mike Weinberger. So since gay marriage wasn't legal then, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that they're brothers. This is the only episode of Who's the Boss that they will write.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, but you know, I mean, I'm going to give it away early that I like this episode. I feel like it's a pretty good episode for two writers who aren't that familiar with the show. When the show opens, Tony is sitting in the living room, well, standing in the living room in front of a giant notepad, which I love. It's like the old school version of whiteboard, which is the old school version of, I guess, a laptop or a computer at this point. And on it, so he's giving like a speech in front of some kids and parents. And this is some sort of PTA thing he's put together where students are going to take a week off from school and they're going to pair up with an adult and they're going to do a work-study program. Now, on the behind him, I love it's a very nice handwriting, whoever wrote this, too.
Probably Tony.
And I tried to look to see what the names were, to see if any of them were writers and or cast members, and I couldn't pair anything up. But we've got stockbroker, record producer, TV news director. Wow.
I know, I think that one's funny. TV
Yeah.
news director made me laugh.
Mortician.
Right.
Clown.
And then just clown.
Who in Fairfield, Connecticut is a clown for a living? Neurosurgeon, domestic engineer, and advertising executive. Yeah, the namesake, it says Ken Thomas, Wendy Parker, Karen Jones, but they weren't cast members. I mean, crew members. So unless they were just like mashing up names, I figured maybe they put little Easter eggs in there.
Clown.
So Tony's like, I'd like to thank you all for coming. Thank you for the parents for volunteering their jobs. Thank you to the kids for taking a week off of school. And most importantly, thank me for putting this whole thing together. And he's waiting for everyone to applaud.
I
for
know.
him.
Very Tony.
So then Angela's like, okay, well, we have some refreshments for everyone, so go get something to eat and drink. And people kind of disperse from where they were sitting. Now some kids are standing over at that table behind the couch. and they're talking about what jobs they got. So one's excited that they get to go with the record producer, one's excited they get to go with the TV news director, and the other one is excited that they get to go with the mortician.
Mortician.
Yeah, let's keep an eye on this guy. Let's track him.
Yeah, anybody wants to be a mortician. I mean, no offense to the morticians.
Yeah, I guess so. But let's track him later in life. And they're talking about it, and the kid's like, yeah, I get to be a mortician. He's like, well, at least it's not as bad as being hanging out with Mr. Micelli and cleaning house. Oh. So he's all like, oh, man. And then Angela comes out, and so nobody picked either of their jobs. Nobody wanted to be a domestic engineer, and nobody wanted to be an advertising executive.
I guess they're boring jobs.
I guess so. And they're kind of competing. They're getting a little competitive with each other. He's like, your speech was kind of boring. And she's like, your speech was kind of boring. So now Bonnie and Samantha show up late to this.
I know. Where the heck were they? God.
Apparently, they saw a cute guy at the gas station and got distracted. And so they ended up late. And Sam's like, oh, man, are all the good jobs gone? And they're like, no. Just happens that the two internships that are left are an advertising mogul and the domestic engineer. So now they start competing for Bonnie and Sam. Like, who wants to make their own hours? Who wants to get to watch a jeans commercial get shot? And they're going back and forth, and Sam's like, all right, I mean, there's really no other answer here. I'll go with Dad. What?
No, it's just funny. Like, well, what's funny is they kind of, when they're comparing who wants to go do this, I mean, obviously the things Angela's saying are way better.
I know. Who wants
no
to
one
drive
gives a
my
crap
Jag
about
for the
washing
week?
jeans and making sure they don't shrink. That's
See,
not interesting.
I don't think I would have been interested in that either at this age, but now I would totally be interested in that.
Yeah, I guess so.
I'm
talking about then, though.
No, exactly.
Perspective of the kid, of a 16-year-old or 15, what is 16?
Yeah, 16 or almost 17 maybe
Something
now.
like that.
Yeah, and Angela's like, who wants to drive my Jag for the week? Well, that has nothing to do with being an advertising executive. Now you're just bribing them.
Right.
So yeah, Sam picks her dad, and so Bonnie's like, okay, well, great, then that means I'm going with Angela. So when they walk away, Bonnie's like, why didn't you pick Angela? And Sam's like, listen, I've already worked for her before, which we remember that episode.
Yes.
Junior executive from like season 3. And
Yeah,
she's
that's
like,
what I
it's
thought
not
of.
as much fun as you think it's going to be. It's pretty hard work. And she figures that if she hangs out of the house, then she's going to be able to do whatever she wants. And she's basically staying home from school for the week.
Right.
Earlier, Bonnie had asked Angela what time she should be ready. And Angela said, be here at 7:30, dress for success. And then Tony told Sam, be here at 7:30, dress for a mess.
He's right.
But now after Samantha tells Bonnie that, Angela's like, you know what, Bonnie, actually be here at 7 because we have a full day
Right,
ahead
after,
of us.
and that's, after Samantha explains how
Right.
how much of a hard...
Yeah, so now Bonnie's
person.
like, I hope you get static cling. She's not as excited to go with Angela anymore.
I know.
So they go upstairs, and then Tony and Angela are talking, and she says, I kind of wish that Sam would have picked me, which is really sweet because you can tell that she means that because she would like to spend some
Quality time.
time with Samantha.
Exactly.
And Tony now is no longer really being competitive, but more trying to make her feel better. And it's like, oh, she probably just didn't understand your pitch or whatever. So I think he feels like a tiny bit bad for her. So now the next day, Bonnie shows up looking like a flight attendant.
Yeah, I know. What's up with that?
outfit is
I know.
so funny. And Sam comes down, definitely dressed for a mess. She's got sweatpants on and like a sleeveless like hoodie. She's ready to do some cleaning or to not do anything at all. And Sam's like, Bonnie, you look so miserable. And Bonnie's like, yeah, and you look really comfortable. And Sam's like, well, don't worry about it. It's not like I'm just hanging out all day. I'm going to have stuff to do too. She said, except between 12 and 3 when my dad goes to school. And she shows that she's wearing a bathing suit underneath this.
Oh, okay. I don't have that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, she's planning to hang out when her dad has to go to philosophy
I see.
class.
At where, though, with the bathing suit?
I guess just the backyard. Probably just like on
okay.
a lawn chair.
I see. No pool, just...
No. Yeah, but that's fine.
Yeah, I
Kids
guess
did
so.
that. So then they're talking about how much Sam's like, don't worry, Bonnie, you're probably going to have so much fun today with Angela. And Mona comes in and she's like, why? Is Angela, she says, you're going to have so much fun at work today. And Mona's saying, is Angela not going, basically? Like, why is it going to be fun unless Angela's not going to be there? Now, in the kitchen, these little interludes here are so odd. But I feel like they were just put in to have Angela and Tony have like a moment together.
I know.
And to kind of flirt with each other.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah. So Angela says, Tony, I had the worst dream last night. They're sitting at the kitchen table. She's like, I was a trapeze artist and I was swinging with my feet in the air and I had no net. And instead of grabbing my hand, my partner decided to die.
I know. Like, what?
And then she says, what do you think that means? And Tony's like, well, either you feel rejected because none of the kids picked you last night, or you're not getting enough sex.
I know. I was like, whoa.
I know.
Wow, that came out of nowhere.
Yeah. And Angela's like, it was the first one.
Yeah.
And then she gets up.
When
now the
we
girls come in.
clearly know that Angela
hasn't had sex since Jeffrey, right?
No, I don't know.
Unless
Yeah, I
she's hooked
guess.
up with someone that we just didn't see.
Yeah.
And I don't think Tony's doing much better.
Yeah, he's not making his rounds either.
No, not at all. So the girls come in, and Bonnie goes with Angela and Mona out the door, and now Sam's with Tony. And Sam's like, okay, Dad, well, don't worry, we'll get to the stuff that we need to do today. And he says, I made you a list for when I have to go to school. And she's like, oh, I totally forgot you were going to school, trying to play it off like she's not planning to goof off. But he gave her a list, and on the list is budgeting, nutritional planning, house repairs.
Yeah, it's front and back.
Yeah. And she's like, oh, good, no cleaning. And he's like, no, turn it over. And all the cleaning is on the back. And she's like, oh, are you serious? And he says, she's like, I have to seriously make Jonathan's bed? And he's like, listen, we don't make beds. We create a comfortable living environment. He said a household is an intricate ecosystem, and the more peaceful we make the house, the better the people in the house will be off.
I know. That part went on a little long.
It did, but it's funny because this is Tony's work ethic.
Right. Like,
Tony could have
you're not
any
making
job.
your bed, you're making a comfortable
Right.
sleeping place or whatever. And
Yeah. I feel like Tony could have any job and he would make the most out of it regardless, because it's just about him putting in the effort and him making something, something that he can be proud of and he can feel good about.
Right. No, that's good.
Now, at the Bauer Agency, Mona and Bonnie I don't even know what they're doing, but they're reading through some sort of like analysis, which I'm guessing is old school, like data on how many people saw these advertisements that they're putting out.
Yeah, I guess so, yeah.
And they're going line by
30%
line.
reach, August 86.
Right.
Like how many people that they project that it reached, basically, yeah.
And they're just going line by line down a piece of paper. And Bonnie's like, oh, I noticed a typo. And Mona's like, don't worry about it. So Angela comes out. She's like, oh, great. I'm so glad you guys are working through the market research. Then she asks for a file. And, of course, Mona is no help.
Right.
Oh, and Angela notices the typo. And she's like, oh, I noticed a typo here. And then Mona says, Bonnie. Like, she thinks it's her.
What is wrong with Mona?
She's such an ass.
I know, she really is.
So Angela needs a file, and Bonnie goes and gets it for her quickly. And she's like, how did you get that so fast? And she's like, oh, I took all the current files, and I put red dots on them. This way we know that they're the current files.
Taking some initiative.
Yeah. And Angela's like very impressed. She's like, that's a great system. Like, we should do that on all the files. Put a different color on every year. This way, we know which ones are which year. And Mona's like, like, you're kind of cramping my style here of doing nothing.
Well, even when Angela says it's good, then Mona says, I helped.
Right, yeah.
She just
so
didn't
first
do
she
anything.
throws Bonnie under the bus,
Right.
and now she's going to take credit for part of something that Bonnie came up with on her own. Yeah,
ass.
She's terrible. So Sam calls, and Bonnie picks up the phone, and they're talking, and she's like, oh, how's your day going, Sam? And Sam's like, this is awful. Like, my dad's very philosophical about, which is funny because he's taking philosophy. So he's being very philosophical about his cleaning. And she says, do you know that dust doesn't exist in a vacuum?
I don't understand how that works, but
Well, he means like the philosophical.
Oh, meaning that
Vacuum,
it doesn't
but-
exist because it's in the vacuum?
Well, it's like things don't exist in a vacuum because not a vacuum like vroom vroom, like a philosophical
in an
vacuum.
actual
yeah,
vacuum.
like, and so he's just making
Like
that
in the
little
tube
pun.
of the vacuum.
No, dust definitely exists in our vacuum. I see it every time I vacuum the living room
know, it's
rug.
terrible.
It's awful. And then she asked Bonnie, like, are you having fun? And Bonnie's like, yeah, it's actually pretty nice here. Like, I'm enjoying it. And then just then Angela comes out and she says to Bonnie, you know, it would be great. I'm going to go meet some clients. Let's go. I'll take you along with me and you can come with me to the Russian tea room. Do you know if the Russian tea room still exists?
I don't know.
I think it does.
This sounds
And
fancy.
Bonnie says, for free?
I know. It's funny, though. It's such a kid thing to
I
say.
know. Like, she's just excited she's going to get a free lunch. So Sam hangs up the phone, and then she looks at the list, and she's like, I wonder what Yoda has planned for me next, which is really
Yoda.
funny. So she's vacuuming the living room now, and Jonathan is just sitting there doing nothing, and he's got a glass of milk on the coffee table, and Sam goes over, and she's trying to get him to move his, pick up his legs so she can get underneath them, and he's complaining to her because she's being too loud, he's trying to read a magazine. So then she just goes over and sucks up all the milk in his glass with the vacuum cleaner.
Yeah, that's terrible. That's not good for the vacuum.
No,
Because it's not a wet vac.
No, not at all. That's ruined the vacuum, and if it didn't ruin the vacuum, it's going to stink in there in a while. And Jonathan's like, I'm going to tell your dad. And she's like, great, then I'll get fired, and that would make me happy. So Tony comes in. Oh, did you find the Russian tea room?
Yes, it's open.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's still there.
And it's expensive.
It is. I do know. I remember that from even hearing about it as a kid.
Yeah.
It's always been
It's
expensive.
open in New York City. So good for Angela.
Well, good thing Bonnie didn't have to pay.
Yeah, I really, yeah.
So Tony comes in and he's like, hey, honey, I'm home. What's for dinner? And Sam's like, I was supposed to make dinner too? And he says, yes, it's 23 on the list. And she says, I'm on 4.
23.
You're telling me that Tony really gets all that stuff done? 23 things done? And goes to school normally?
Tony. I don't know.
So Sam's feeling down
But
about...
that's true. The school thing would really cut into that.
Yeah, it sounds like he was at school from noon to 3. But as we know from previous episodes, they're like, you get all your housework done by 10:30 a.m.
Right.
And you have the rest, like, he's really making stay-at-home moms look bad here because he's saying that he can get everything done by 10:30.
How does that work?
I don't know. I mean, I'm sure Tony's efficient, but there still would be a lot of stuff to do every single day. But I guess he didn't have to pick up the kids. That's a chunk too, having to get up and leave and then go get the kids and then come back. And he's not driving anyone to any kind of activities or
Yeah, I guess
whatever
so.
after school. So maybe he had more time during the day. And because it's a sitcom and he's Tony Micelli.
Right. That's really the...
So Sam's feeling down about herself, but he's like, you know what? I don't want you to feel bad because this house looks great. Really? It looks great. She did 4 things, Tony. And, the people who live here are going to be better off because of the work that you did today. So he leaves and she goes back to cleaning and she starts singing a song. We would never hear this on TV ever. And she's very proud of herself nowadays.
Right.
So she's singing a song, Home, Home on the Range, where Jonathan is mentally deranged.
Oh, why is Jonathan getting attacked?
Because he's basically her little brother and a pain in the ass. But it's just funny, like, now mental illness is handled so differently on TV that you would never see this joke. No one's going to be singing a song about someone being mentally deranged.
Right, exactly.
Now, Mona comes in, and she's like, having Bonnie at the office was a huge mistake. And Sam's enjoying hearing that. She's like, what did she do? And she said she worked.
Right.
And now when Angela and Bonnie
the
come
job
in...
done.
What?
Yeah, she got work done.
Yeah, she completely redid a filing system. And now when Angela and Bonnie come in, they have like all these little secret jokes and they're speking languages that nobody else understands. Advertising.
Jargon.
Yeah. And they're giggling and you can tell that they had a really good day that day. And Sam's a little bit jealous. She's like, oh, okay, well, when Angela walks away, Sam's like, tell me what it was really like. And Bonnie's like, it was boring in some parts, but being with Angela made up for it because she's really cool and really great to be around. She's like, she's smart and she's funny And Sam's like, oh, I know that. I mean, really? She's funny?
Yeah.
She said.
Like, who says?
Right. But it's just that thing, too, where, like, you always thought your friends' parents were cooler than your parents, you know? Like, Bonnie sees Angela as...
Right. And then that's the way it always
Right. And
was.
Sam sees Angela more as a mom, which we're actually going to get here, too, in a little bit.
Right. Yeah, I see that.
Oh, I forgot to ask you. Did you ever do any a work study thing like this?
No.
I did.
No, I mean, if I did, I don't remember.
And I only remember because it was only one day, though. It wasn't like this. But
Yeah, I mean, this seems a bit extravagant.
Yeah, a whole week to go and miss school. It does
Right.
seem, but it was one day, and I went with a friend. It wasn't just me by myself. But kind of the same situation where we just got to, either we were late to the program signing up or whatever, or we just got assigned, but we had to go with a surgeon, and I was terrified.
Oh, God.
And I didn't sleep the night before because I was like, oh my God, I have to be, we went into an operating room and saw 3 surgeries.
Oh, my God.
I know. And
You never told me about that.
I was so scared, and it ended up being one of the best days ever. It was so interesting. And once I
Leave it
got
to
over seeing people cut open, it actually was pretty awesome.
You to stress about it all night
I
and not
know.
sleep and then have a
and
good
then
time.
have a great time. And I had never been in an operating room before because I had never had any kind of surgery or anything at that point.
Right.
And one, it was really interesting, but two, like they were just so like friendly with us and like really showing us stuff and even kind of messing around, like in a safe way, but like squirting saline and stuff while this person was just like laid open on the table.
That's
and it
crazy.
almost piqued my interest in going into nursing for a little bit until I was like, I don't think I could actually dissect a dead person. And I'm really bad at math. So that's
And
probably
there's-
not a
so
good
there's
idea.
that.
Yeah.
Probably for the
And
best.
I have terrible, I wouldn't be able to deal with people, and you have to do that a lot. But anyway, it makes me think of that when I see this episode because it was kind of a really awesome thing to be able to do. I wonder if the kids will get to do that now. I don't know if they still do that or not.
I remember like when I was in like 2nd or 3rd grade, they took a field trip to In-N-Out Burger.
They did.
Because it was like right next to the school. And they walked down to In-N-Out Burger.
They did, and they showed them how they make the burgers and the French fries.
Right.
Yep. Yeah. All right. Well, maybe we can get her a work study going back to, or she can just get a job.
And I
at
do remember
In-N-Out.
as a kid, one time in my class, we visited a newspaper. And because I remember
Oh, that's
they
pretty
actually printed the picture of us visiting in the newspaper. And
that's
my
really
parents had
cute.
the article. They showed it to me last time I was there. That's the only reason I remember.
That's cute. My parents owned a Carvel ice cream, so I guess I was in work study from 3 until 12 because I was there all the time. Okay, so Angela comes back out and she says, you know, Bonnie, I really enjoyed spending time with you today, and I'll see you again tomorrow. And she's like, you know what? We worked so hard today that why don't we meet at 8 tomorrow instead? Give ourselves a break. That's actually still really early. Well, I guess they're leaving at 8, so it's not that bad. And you can see that Sam is a little jealous that Angela and Bonnie have bonded so much. When Bonnie leaves, you can tell Sam's just kind of like not happy. And Tony comes out holding the toaster. He's like, I am so proud of you. And he shakes it upside down and no crumbs come out.
I mean, you really think she cleaned? Maybe it's on the list.
It was
maybe
probably
it's
on the
one
list.
of the first 4.
Yeah, it was one of the first 4 for sure. Do you think Tony cleans out the toaster every single morning after it's used?
Nah, it's up for debate.
I think he does.
I think you're right.
That's why there's so many things on that list. I cleaned our toaster oven for the first time, I think, in 1.5 years.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Even that. I mean,
Not every day.
no, certainly not every day. So the next morning, Angela comes in to the kitchen and she tells Tony another dream. And now this time it was a wonderful, this one's even more like sexual of a dream.
Yeah.
She was in some sort of Siegfried and Roy show. She was the center ring of the circus, and she was on a horse riding bareback. That's what that means, without a saddle, right? And she had a sparkler in each hand.
Oh, yeah, that makes more sense than
And
her
the-
riding without pants. yeah, you're right. Bareback, a horse. Okay.
I mean,
That's not
maybe.
yeah, I did.
And then she was like She was queen of the big top. That's what she says. And she's like,
Queen of the big top.
What do you think that means?
You're in charge of the big
No,
top.
are you answering me?
Yeah.
Oh, no. Angela says to Tony, what do you think that means?
Oh, I thought you were asking me what I thought Queen of the Big Top means.
Yeah,
So I was
no.
doing.
I
my
think
best,
it's all ridiculous. I don't know
my
what
best
it
answer
means.
of what Queen of the Big Top is. I'm sorry.
Thank you, though. I appreciate that you were
tried.
helping there.
Okay.
And Tony's like, well, either it means you're feeling accepted or you're getting too much. But before he can even say the word sex, Angela's like, it's the first one.
I know, but yeah. I
'Cause
don't know.
what's
How does he get that out of?
I don't know, just because they've got to be flirty here.
know.
But, I mean, Angela hasn't had any sex since the last time she had the other dream. So we know she's not getting too much sex.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, unnecessary.
Now, Samantha comes down the stairs, and she is not dressed for a mess. She is dressed for success today. And she answers the door because Bonnie's there, and Bonnie's like, why are you dressed up? And Sam's like, we need to switch. She's like, I want to work with Angela today, and you can stay with my dad. But Bonnie's like, no, I really had a good time yesterday, and I'm learning a lot, and I think that this might actually be a career that I want to do.
Yeah, lifelong career.
Yeah. That's a go. See, that was just like me thinking for like 5 minutes that I could possibly go into the medical field. It messes with your head.
Right. But then what does...
What?
Then when Samantha offers her...
Oh, yeah.
To let her borrow her jacket. She's like, okay.
Okay,
so
never
much
mind.
for career aspirations.
I'll find another lifelong career. Thank you.
Yeah.
So Tony and Angela come out and they're like, what's going on? And Sam says that they're going to switch. And they're like, you know what? You can't, this isn't bouncing around here. You need to pick something and stick to it. She's like, we're not bouncing around. We're 90s women. We want to have it all. And Angela doesn't care. She's like,
Right.
I have to
Keep
leave
your
here in
90s
5
women
minutes.
stories.
Yeah. So someone needs to come with me. So Samantha goes with Angela, and now today Bonnie is going to stay with Tony. Immediately, Tony starts in with, hey, Bonnie, you know dust doesn't exist in a vacuum?
I know. My God, come on.
But before they leave, Angela asks Sam, like, do you think that Bonnie didn't have a good time with me yesterday? Or she kind of was wondering why Bonnie changed her mind. And Sam's like, oh, no, she just didn't want you to know that she actually gets a little nauseous on the train. And Angela's like, so do I.
I know. That was funny.
That was cute. So then when Bonnie and Tony are in the kitchen, he's like, did Sam say anything about yesterday? And Bonnie admits that she did call and complain. And Tony's like, man, I was probably too hard on her. You know, she's only 16. She's not ready for the symbiosis of cleaning.
Okay. All right.
And then Bonnie's like, are any of us really?
Yeah. Calm down.
So now at the office, Sam's there. Mona's still useless. She's listening to music really loud and like dancing around. And Sam's all working behind her trying to file stuff. And the phone starts ringing and Sam's like, okay, Mona, the phone. And then she's like, never mind, I'll get it. And when she says that, then Mona suddenly can hear.
Right.
She's like, okay, great, thanks.
Useless.
So Sam takes a message and she makes an appointment for Angela for 3 o'clock. She checks her calendar first and it looks like it's okay. So she makes an appointment for 3. Then Angela comes out and she's kind of stressed and she's asking Mona for help. And still, Mona's just got the headphones on, not
I know,
caring. Look
not
at those old
listening.
headphones
I
too.
know.
It's
Not
fantastic.
listening, not being able to hear anyone or pretending.
Yes. Angela is looking for a certain file because this happens often to Angela. She ends up just having like a day where everything goes downhill very quickly.
I know. Escalates quickly. And
Like she's going to
stress.
completely lose this account and then somehow she saves the day. So she asks where this file is and Sam's like, oh, I put all of this year's files in this filing cabinet so that they're right here. And unfortunately, it's a filing cabinet where the drawer doesn't open anymore. I mean, how long have you had this broken
I don't
filing
know.
cabinet?
Why are you still holding on to it?
Right. This really kind of isn't Sam's fault. So Sam feels bad and she's like, oh, I'm sorry. You know, I was just trying to help. She was trying to put in the initiative that
Yes.
Bonnie was doing, but
Right.
it just kind of backfired on her at this point.
And Mona's zero help. You think if Mona would have noticed her putting stuff in
Right.
there,
And
she'd
said,
have-
don't use that. Right.
Yeah.
But she's just been
but
sitting
she's
there with music
playing
in
air
her ears.
drums.
And then Angela breaks the news to her that Sam needs to call the Russian tea room and cancel lunch because she's going to be so tied up with this other account today that there's no time for them to go and have lunch.
Oh, there you go. Samantha's days
Ruined. But now, meanwhile, back at the house, Bonnie seems to be having a pretty good time. She's cleaning windows in the living room, and Tony just keeps asking her, like, are you having fun? Are you having a good time? And she's like, yes. And then he comes out and starts singing the Mr. Clean song. And he has an earring in. He's wearing a white T-shirt.
Gosh.
I mean, I'm sure people are familiar with Mr. Clean, right? We still see him.
Yeah, I mean, you don't see the old commercials. Like,
No.
He's
But
what
the
he's actually
magic
singing
eraser is amazing.
Going.
Yeah.
He's singing a commercial from like the 50s. So, but the jingles must have still been going on then.
Yeah, because I kind of remember that jingle as a
Yeah.
kid. Yeah, so he's wearing a white T-shirt, he's got an earring hoop in, and he has a cap on his head to make it look like he's bald, and he's singing the Mr. Clean song. And Bonnie has no idea who he is, and she says, is that Telly Savalas? Is that Kojak?
Yes.
Telly Savalas? Hi, Ronan. Okay, we're back. And Tony says, no, it's Mr. Clean. And she's like, oh, okay, good one, Mr. Micelli. And then Tony says, maybe I should have done Josephine the plumber.
Who's Josephine the plumber?
So, yes, I looked that up. There are these commercials for Comet, and I guess she was a plumber. It doesn't seem like she's a plumber in the commercials,
No.
but I don't know. And so, yeah, it's a Comet commercial from a long time ago, like the 60s. But her name was Jane Withers in real life, and she just passed away August 7th of 2021. And she was born in 1926.
Wow.
Yeah. I would have never gotten that. If I hadn't looked it up, I would have never understood the Josephine the Plumber reference.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe she was more well known then.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Obviously.
Now, the front door opens, and Sam and Angela come in, and and Mona, and no one looks ready. And no one looks happy. And Tony is standing there, still trying to do the Mr. Clean impersonation, and Sam doesn't care, and Angela doesn't care. And then Mona looks at him and says, I knew the clinic. I told the clinic he wasn't ready. Another mental illness joke that we would not see on TV today.
I know.
And Sam wants to talk to Bonnie for a minute. And she tells Bonnie, you have to switch back with me. I'm not going back there tomorrow. And Bonnie says, but he's doing Josephine tomorrow. Bonnie's just having fun no matter where she's going. Yeah. Oh, so Bonnie did keep her Dress for Success clothes on, and she just put an apron on over it. I was wondering how she was going to be cleaning all day in those clothes. Hopefully she borrowed a pair of Sam's shoes. But Sam says, no, I do not want to work with Angela anymore. And just then, Tony and Angela open the door, so Angela hears her say that. And they're kind of standing there, and Bonnie's like, you know what? I think it's time for me to go. And she leaves. So Tony's like, what is going on here? Like, you didn't have a good time with me, and you didn't have a good time with Angela. He's like, I thought housekeeping wasn't your calling, and now you're saying that advertising isn't your calling either. But Angela's like, I think I know the issue here, and it's that, it was a really rough day,
right?
And I was short with her about the filing cabinet issue. I almost lost an account, and we weren't able to go to lunch. But Tony doesn't want to hear the excuse because he says, you know what? Bonnie was here and Bonnie was there, and she seems to have a great attitude no matter where she is. And that really pushes Sam over the edge. And she's like, yeah, exactly. Like, Bonnie came up with this great red dot theory. Bonnie got to go to lunch at the Russian tea room, and Bonnie is the one that Angela had fun with.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, she says Bonnie is the one that Angela likes. And Angela says, I do like Bonnie, but I love you. Which is really cute.
Yeah, very nice.
I know.
scene.
Very sweet. And Angela says to her, I just thought, I didn't think that you wanted to be with me. And Sam says, I didn't think that you wanted to be with me. And then Tony says, nobody wants to be with me. It's just really funny.
Oh, sad.
Still dressed like Mr. Clean.
I know.
And Angela says, sometimes I get the feeling from you that you think that I'm a drag and that you don't really enjoy being around me. And Sam's like, I don't think that you're a drag. And she's like, well, all right. Yeah. I mean, actually, I do. She said, but that's how most kids feel about their mothers. And so Angela is so excited that Sam just referred to her as her mother. And she says to Tony, did you hear that? She called me mother. Which she didn't really call her mother, but
close enough.
Yeah,
She'll
it was.
take it.
Angela's gonna take it.
Yep.
Yeah. And Tony's very emotional, and he's like, "I did hear that," and so Angela's like feeling really emotional and happy right now, and she says, I feel really loved. And Sam's like, so do I. So they have a big hug, and then Tony says, me too, and he joins in on the hug there.
Does the triple
So
hug.
yeah, that's the first time we've really seen Samantha say that she thinks of Angela as her mother. But we're 5 years in now, and Angela has been there for most of her,
Oh, yeah.
from her first bra to now. So you would think that they have bonded quite a bit at this point.
Who's the boss will be back in a moment. Stick around.
This may be one of my favorite tags ever. So the next morning, Angela and Samantha come downstairs, and they're both dressed to go to the office. And Tony's like, all right, goodbye, ladies. Have a good day. Because I guess they decided that she wasn't going to stop going. And the doorbell rings, and Tony's like, here's my little helper. And he opens the door, and Bonnie is also dressed to go to the office. And they quickly shuffle Bonnie back out the door, and Angela and Samantha run off. And Tony's like, no, who's going to help me? And then the kitchen door swings open, and Mona is dressed like Mr. Clean.
I know.
With the earring and everything.
Right, and the head thing.
the cap, the earring. And she looks so pissed off. And she's holding a mop and like a little basket of cleaning supplies. And that is the end of the episode.
Makes no sense.
I know. And nobody wants Mona there. She's not going to be any help. Oh, actually, Tony he screams and goes to run out the door like he's going to go with Angela and Samantha and Bonnie. And that is the end of the episode.
All right.
Okay, I think I do rating first this time. So I think you did it last time.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I'm going to give this episode a 7.5
Okay.
again. This is a really cute one. I mean, it's great. It's interesting that it's written by two people who have never written an episode before. Jonathan didn't have a lot to do in it, which is unfortunate.
Yeah.
But I feel like the rest of the storyline was pretty fleshed out and was funny. And we got to see some really cute emotional moments between Angela and Samantha, especially that last part at the end there.
Yeah.
And we got to see Tony just kind of being a badass at his job, which we always know he has been. Yeah, that's it. And Angela being a boss lady too.
Yeah. I'll agree with you. 7.5.
Yeah. Does that mean you didn't write anything down beforehand?
Yeah. No. I just thought it was I usually don't write anything down anyway. So.
That's true.
Yeah. No. All for the same reasons. I like the beginning with the little marker board, all fancy.
Yes,
and,
that was funny.
Everything was
His
laid
giant
out nicely.
notepad.
Yeah, and Tony getting out, just proving that Tony gets a lot done and gets school done all on the same day.
Right, yeah.
So Tony's proving he's a badass.
Yeah.
So, and Angela's just proving that she's very frazzled at work. and
Oh, Miles.
no, this cat's crying away.
He's been fed.
And then Mona's still no help.
No, none.
So-
Zero.
I know. Like, why? She can't be of any use to her. Why is she still there?
I don't know, because she's her mother. And she
I guess so.
can't fire her because then she's going to get mad. They're not going to talk for a week and a half.
That's true. So, yeah, I'll
What do
go
you think
with-
Mona did all day at the house? Nothing. She probably
Nothing.
sat on the couch, put her little headphones back on. She probably kept that ridiculous outfit on all day, but did no actual work.
Yeah, exactly. Just sat there and did nothing. Listen to music.
Who's the boss around here? Me? Or my mother? Or maybe it's you?
I'm going to go with Samantha.
Okay.
And the reasoning is, she was a little confused during the episode. She didn't know who she wanted to be with. She thought, and she kept chasing, like, where Bonnie was going. But in the end, she realized that, she probably should have gone with Angela this whole time and kind of, lets Angela know that she thinks she's kind of like a mom to her.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. This was a tough one.
It was a tough one.
I didn't know how to pick a boss. So, I just went with Angela, just mainly for that reason. I'm sorry, Samantha, mainly for that reason.
I'm going to pull a you, and I'm going to say that Bonnie is the boss in this episode.
Okay, because Bonnie knew what she wanted. Bonnie was happy everywhere.
Yeah, Bonnie.
Bonnie was like a child.
Like, Bonnie gets a bad rap a lot for being kind of, now that Julia's gone, I feel like Bonnie's kind of taken over sort of being the silly one, like put the dinner rolls in her pocket and all that stuff. But, you know, she was really happy doing either job. She really was putting a lot of effort into it. She came up with the red dot theory, which was great.
Right, yeah.
She didn't want to have to give up her job. So, yeah, I'm just going to go, because there really wasn't anyone that made...
No,
I mean,
that's a pretty good one. I mean, Samantha was the closest thing I could think of, you know, not even really considering Bonnie.
yeah, it certainly wasn't Mona.
God, no. No, it's rare it's Mona anymore. Mona's just kind of taking up space.
All right, so you can reach us at Who's the Boss Podcast on Instagram, or go to Who's the Boss Pod 1 on Twitter. On Facebook, our page is the Who's the Boss Podcast page, or go to anchor.fm/WTB podcast, and there you can leave us a voice message. Now, the next episode we're going to cover is called Tony Does Golf. We're going to find out that Tony enjoys golf, even though we've never really seen him do it before. All right.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I mean, we saw him do
We'll
mini
touch
golf.
on that.
Oh, wait,
Yeah.
no. I'm sorry, you're right. He played golf a
played
bit
golf
with
with
Jonathan.
Jonathan. Yeah.
Yes, that is a good point. Okay.
All right.
But he's way into it now.
Okay.
All right.
Suddenly.
Yeah,
Out of
bye.
nowhere.
Thank you. Bye.
If you like this podcast, please subscribe and give a big thumbs up and tell all your friends. And maybe you can tell your grandma, your mother, and your sister or brother. Maybe have no siblings. Tell your dog and cats. Bye.